Hi, I'm Karthikeyan. With respect to VajiramandRavi, I teach geography optional in Chennai Center and forestry optional with respect to Chennai and Delhi Center. And some of you are asking what is forestry and all those things. Don't worry about it. We'll discuss from the scratch and we'll go on with respect to it, right? One. Second thing with respect to it is we do as like you have a civil service examination. There is one more examination. UPSC will conduct multiple examinations, right? One of the examination which is conducted will be Indian Forest Service examination. And we'll be discussing about it. The structure of the orientation will be, this will be the structure of orientation. So we'll discuss about what is the IFoS and exam structure. Then we'll go on with respect to, there are certain myths that has been associated with respect to it. More importantly for the mains, there are certain amount of misinformation that has been spread in the recent years. And that misinformation has been affected large number of students in the mains last year, right? So we'll be working on that particular thing and how the question paper has been changing, that we'll discuss with respect to it. And courses offered by VajiramandRavi with respect to Indian Forest Service examination, right? Course details, time frame for the preparations, and how to write science abstract paper, strategy for 2023, whoever is writing, 2024, whoever is appearing for the next year. And finally, we'll have what will be the use of forestry optionals if you have been other than Indian Forest Service. And finally, we'll have the session for the questions, right? So this will be the orientation. Apart from that, if you have the orientation, other questions, then we will be discussing with respect to at the end of the session. Shall I move on further? Yes. With respect to Indian Forest Service is an all India service like yours, Indian Administrative Service and Indian Police Services, which has been started in 1966. So this basis examination is slightly technical with respect to it because you will be working only in forest, right? In certain states, you will be working as a forest officer, but over you move on in promotions, you will be working as a secretary in multiple departments also. Some of the places you work as an, for example, Home Secretary or Chief Secretaries, multiple positions will come. But primarily when you start your career, you will be working with respect to Forest Service, right? Some of the states where you join, you will be working only as Forest Service officer, you don't move into the other departments. So this is completely varying from state to state with respect to it, number one, right? Shall I move on with respect to the exam structure? The exam structure will be with 4 papers, 6 papers. The exam structure 6 papers will be of one will be the general knowledge paper, not the general studies paper, right, in mains. Second will be general English paper, which we do not have in civil service examination. Even if you have a general English paper, that is only as evaluated paper. You get a minimum number of marks, you will be selected for it. But here the marks are counted with respect to it. Apart from that, you do have 2 options, option 1 and option 2 will be there. Whereas civil services, you will be picking only one option. This is with respect to the mains, right? Total exam structure, if you have to put it across, this will have 3 stages. First is preliminary, then you'll have the mains, and then the interview part. The preliminary part will be in such a manner where the civil service preliminary and the forest service preliminary are same. So if you appear for the preliminary, the same preliminary you write for the civil services, no, that will be the same for the forest service. When you have been applying for the course, you just tick one more box saying that applying for only Indian Forest Services or applying for only civil services or applying for both civil services and Indian Forest Service. This will be the nature with respect to the entire preliminary part. If you by any chance, I apply for only Indian Forest Service, madam applies for both civil services and forest services, right? Both of us write one common preliminary. And based upon the common preliminary, we will be selected for, she will be selected for both civil services and forest service. I will be selected for forest service means. And how is this mark variation will be there? In preliminary, for forest service, you have to score slightly better cutoff. For example, this varies from year to year. Whereas in case of before 2020 time periods, the cutoff range was 20 marks, 15 to 20 marks higher than the civil services. So if you are scoring 99 is your civil service cutoff for general, forest service will be 117 or 118. So close to 20 marks was the barrier, right? Whereas in case of 2021, 22 and 23 time periods, what we have been seeing, 23 it has to come, 21 and 22 time periods, what we have seen is it is only 10 to 12 marks variations. So this variation has come down because the question paper has become hard. It's a relative examination that has been put across with respect to it. After the preliminary, separately civil service mains will be conducted and separately Indian Forest Service mains will be conducted. Separately, civil service interview will be conducted and separately Indian Forest Service interview will be conducted. So preliminary is common both civil services and forest services. The toughest task with respect to the Indian Forest Services is clearing the preliminary. Because you have to score 15 to 20 marks higher than the civil service cutoff. So once you score with respect to the civil services, right, preliminary and the forest service preliminary, the competition is going to be much different in the case of forest service examination. How different we'll discuss with respect to it, right? Then myths associated with respect to the preparations. One of the common myth that we have seen is since the examination started in 1966, this was not the pattern. This pattern was introduced only in the 2012-13 time periods. Before that, what was available is forest service was held separately, civil services was held separately. And forest service, there was no preliminary examination. So you can apply and you can go for the mains examination and write the mains examination, clear it, go for the interview process. They introduced the preliminary part. And for the preliminary part, whereas civil services, you do have, say, this year, 1,000 plus posts is available. But forest service, you will have only 150 posts. So if I am going to select you for this 150 post, 150 into 12 ratio. But for the 1,000 posts, 1,000 into 12 ratio, which means 12,000 people will be selected to write the civil service mains examination. But forest service, I'm not going to select 12,000 people. I will be selecting 1,500 people or 3,000 people based upon the number of posts available. If it is 150 posts, I will be selecting 3,000 people to write. See, these 3,000 people are also part of those 12,000 people. So what will happen? Those 12,000 people who are writing the mains, no, within that, the topmost preliminary cutoff holders of 3,000 alone will write the forest service. So you will be the creamiest of the creamy within this 12,000 mains writing. So clearing the forest service preliminary has become the hard task, which has been done in 2011, 2012, 13 time periods. Those days, what has also happened into those time period is like after clear, they will apply both Indian Forest Service and civil services, clear the preliminary examinations. So every year, I have been teaching forestry and forest services since 2012. This is my 11th year of teaching the Indian Forest Service and also the forestry. And every year I come across one person, few persons will come and say, I applied with some option, I do not know what option is this. So that is the way that seen with respect to, this has happened between 2013 to 16, 17 time periods. And out of which 50% of people will come for the examination, 50% of the people will not appear for the forest service examination because they do not know what to write and what options, how the option papers will be there. But this went on from 13 to 17, 18. Those time periods, whoever went to the examination, instead of 1,000 people, 500 only write the examination. From the 500 people, I will have to call you 200 plus 250 people to the interview. So it is 1:2 ratio happened with respect to it. More people entered into the interview. I'm not saying they are not potent. They are highly potent with respect to it. But the competition range was comparatively less. Those time periods, some of the people also told when they got into the service and when they got with respect to clearing it, some of the people told, not all, some of the people told, you read one book for optional. That is sufficient. You write something in it. That is sufficient. You can even see that in YouTube pages, fill the paper, mark will come, something like college degrees. That has happened, unfortunately. And that went on. And UPSC is a kind of institution will always take the feedback. And it took the feedback and it made it from 19, 20, 21, 22, all these time periods if you look on, the question paper has largely been changed. Evaluation pattern in 2022 has highly been changed with respect to it. These are the misinformation that has been existing. See, forestry is a 4-year course. If a 4-year course, if you're going to read one book, whatever your 3-year or 4-year or 5-year course has been you have done, if there is only one book is available, that will give you only the ins and ins of information. That will not be giving you complete information with respect to it. This will not provide you all those things. You might be able to fill something but not get the marks, right? And changing nature of optional question and paper and the evaluations. If you take the last 3 years of question paper, one thing that has been changed is this is a science paper, right? So within this, what kind of options will go on is you can't be able to take any options like what we have been done with respect to civil services. Maybe some of you would be sociology or political science or public administration, philosophy, literature, geography. All these options will be there. All these are art optionals. In forest service examination, you can write only science optionals. Whereas physics, chemistry, botany, zoology, mathematics, statistics, veterinary science and animal husbandry, forestry, geology. Within this, forestry is the most looked after option. At most 90 to 95% of the people who are writing the mains examination will take forestry. Because of a couple of reasons. One reason is it is the most easiest option among them. Second, it is the most scoring option among them. Right? This has been taken with respect to it. There are other reasons we'll see at the end of the slide. Right? Second option, largely people will take with respect to geology. Some of the engineers, like especially the mechanical engineers and civil engineers, take agricultural engineering because one of the paper is common to them. If anyone has done more interested with respect to mathematics, they take mathematics or statistics or physics, that goes on, chemistry, this goes on with this. Those are minor percentages, right? If I have to rank the options, forestry will be extremely high, and after that, the second options will be going with respect to geology, agricultural engineering, and all those will go on, right? The changing nature is when it is science. For example, whatever may be the options you study, right? In that particular option, there will be some amount of Shall I continue? Yes? Some theoretical part will be there. That theoretical part or some amount of philosopher or thinker will be available who will tell some ideas will be there. That idea they will ask how it can be applicable to the present condition, contemporary time periods. For example, if you take Weber or whoever want to know it is available with respect to it, how it is applicable in the present day conditions will be asked, or how it is applicable to India. In science option, if it is Newton's third law, can I ask a question? Discuss Newton's third law to the contemporary situation in the present day condition and its application to India. Newton's third law is Newton's third law. You cannot ask Newton's third law in different formats. You You can ask Newton's third law as Newton's third law alone. That cannot be put across in various conditions. So science will have certain structures. You will define it. You will write the body of the context. You draw diagrams. You give the mechanism towards it, and then you conclude. But for all the art options, we have been told write introduction, give the body of letter, put schematic representation, and conclusion is very important with respect to it. And all this time period, over the 10 years, every single time when forestry people write or geology people write, one thing that I always tell is like, you don't have to worry about introduction part because introduction is not mandatory. Conclusion is not mandatory. Your introduction is nothing but definition. Your conclusion is nothing but your examples and applications that will be done with respect to it. That's all we'll put across with respect to it. Shall I move on with respect to it? Before 2018, the question nature has been mostly what kind of questions. So you read the book, you will go on to the examination, what kind of question will be there, you will be able to write it. But what happens in the recent time period from 19 to 2021 time period is they started asking the questions, why kind of questions. Whatever the subject that you have studied, if a what kind of question has been asked, right? I read a book, I will be able to write it down, right? But if why kind of question has been asked, only if I know the subject, I will be able to write. But nature has been changed. 35% of the questions in all the options, irrespectively of the optional subjects in Indian Forest Service, those why kind of question has been asked. What can be interpreted is UPSC wants someone with a subject knowledge, not reading and reproducing it. This has been seen in 19, 20, and 21, right? In 22, what they have also done with respect to the evaluation part is, because it has been always told with respect to individuals that you read one book, go and write it, you will get the marks. I studied only for 10 days or 15 days. I got this particular rank. But no one goes beyond it. And what is this particular person's degree? Maybe I would have done some mathematics in IIT, Kharagpur. And I will come there and put one option with respect to mathematics completely easier with respect to it. Maybe this option would have been physics. That no one checks with respect to it. Or my writing skill, no one checks with respect to it. My English skills, no one checks with respect to it. Goes on with respect to that. And people did not write or have the subject knowledge. And in this year, because forestry, in optionals in Indian Forest Service and all, you can score 60%. 55 to 60% easily you can go. So if it is 200 mark is the total mark for the optional papers, you can score 120, 125, 130. That level we will be able to go on with respect to. But forestry, which has never been shown that, this year we have seen 60, 55, 70 with respect to the students because they did not prepare for the subject to the knowledge. They did not write the practice, so the marks did not come with respect to it, right? We'll go on with respect to how to score marks also. This is with respect to it. So the optional courses offered by Vajiramandravi include, for now, we'll have forestry classroom program and forestry exclusive test program. The classroom program is for the fresher as in who is not exposed to the forestry. Same goes with respect to the geology. If someone is taking geology, not exposed to the geology, classroom program. But there are many students who have been prepared, studied forestry as a classroom program in the last year, last before year, and all those things. When they come, we'll tell them don't take the classroom because you have already studied the last year. So you take only the exclusive test series program that will be done with respect to it, right? And there will also be for the mains writing people, the next few slides is mostly oriented with respect to the people writing with respect to the mains, right? So we have a practice test for GK and the general English also, because what you get in civil services is general studies where you will have a multiple subjects will be there. Here it is general knowledge, one. It is more of contemporary oriented. Second thing is general English will include essay, we'll have reading comprehension, we'll have report writing, we'll have letter writing, more importantly, we'll have grammar. The grammar will be for 50 marks. And that will indicate how much mark you are going to score with respect to English, right? So Vajiramandravi will also provide a practice test for general knowledge and general English, right? Apart from the interview guidance for the Indian Forest Service. This year we started the interview guidance for Indian Forest Service with forestry. And we have, out of this 150 plus students, we had the 75 students who came from the Vajiram interview guidance alone, right? And with respect to the forestry and geology classroom programs, the common things, both the things will be there, forestry and geology. Forestry will be handled by me. I will tell you my graduation and all those work experience and my UPSC profile slightly later. Geology will be handled by another faculty and who has the academic knowledge of geology for IIT Mumbai PhD in geology and also the field experience of last 11 years and teaching for the last 7+ years. So we'll be handling with respect to the geology as well, right? And materials will be provided to you. We'll be able to cover a major portion of the syllabus. We are not saying the complete portion of the syllabus. Why? Because the one who's been writing this exam do know that environment and biodiversity is also part of the syllabus in paper 1, right? Economics is part of the syllabus in paper 2 also. Where environment and biodiversity, without studying, you cannot clear the preliminary examinations. If I come back again and teach you what is eutrophication, what is climate change, it's waste of time for you and me as well. So those portions which has already been taught to you during the times of preliminary, we will not touch at all. Similarly, if you go on to geology, the paper 1 first part of section A, within the section A, first part is general geomorphology, which is the basic geography you study for the preliminary part. Second part would be geomorphology and remote sensing, which is again you would have been studied for the preliminary part. So those two sections geology faculty will not touch with respect to it, because to save the time period with respect to it, right? Apart from that, major portions will be there. What has been always told all this 10 years, and that is always worked with respect to the last 10 years is, number one, paper will be for 200 marks. Optional paper 1 is for 200, optional paper 2 is for 200. Similarly, if you take geology, optional paper 1 is for 200, 2 is for 200. Whereas in case of forestry, I tell them 180 marks you will write. I'm not telling that you will write for 200 marks. You will write for 180 marks, assuredly. The 20 marks you are not going to write. That also I will tell you. But if you prepare for 1 month and you write for 180 marks, and if you get 120 out of that 180, what else you want? That's a major idea that we'll be putting it across with respect to it, right? Enable 1 with respect to the in-depth subject knowledge, all this technical jargons has been put across, right? That's it, nothing more. And skill of writing the science, which will be completely different, because if you have been writing the general studies, you are not exposed to writing what is science. I'll give you an example also of how to write science at the end of it, right? Second thing is, we'll write introduction and conclusion. That is not required here. Introduction is definition. Conclusion is application part. That's all. People always come back and say that, sir, I did not write in conclusion, sir. I was always told for the last 6 years to write conclusion. You are saying that don't write conclusion. My heart is not accepting not to write conclusion. That they will put it across. Handholding and daily answer writing practice will be there for both forestry and geology. With respect to the forestry alone, forestry classes will be offline in Delhi. So for all the classes, I will be in Delhi, right? Geology will be decided, and that will be let to know. Both courses will be available offline, online, and also hybrid mode. So one day you can come here, or one day you can attend in home. That will also be available. I think Vajiram has GS courses with respect to hybrid, and you are used to it also. And recorded videos will be available in portal for 7 days. Once the class is over, the video will be, they will be processing the video. You can't expect them to be a 2 minutes noodles to complete it within the second and then put it across. That is not possible. They have to work on it. Maybe 1 or 2 days. The video will be recorded. Without you asking, everything will come to the portal. Automatically will be in the portal. Same day it will come. So you give us an assurance of the same day it will be available in the portal. I'm just giving you 1 more day. If it is any day that happens, extreme. But as the assurance is being given, same day that will be available on the portal also. And the video will be available for 7 days of a time period. Right? And exclusive test batches will be there. So you'll have 4 sectional tests and 2 full tests. This, what you see as an exclusive test batch, is inclusive of your classroom program. If you take the classroom program, you will have the entire part of this, and you will also get 4 sectional tests, 2 full tests will be there, daily answer writing practice will be there, and also you will have the discussion and the evaluation. If you are a person who has already attended the test, you will have an exclusive test batch where this part alone will be coming with respect to you, right? And daily answer writing practice, all this information is available in the website. So you will be able to see with respect to the website part, 1. Second thing with respect to it is daily answer writing practice. November 1 to November 20 will be daily answer writing practice, right? November 25 is the exam starts. So 5 days before we will finish it. 20 days daily answer writing practice will be there for both forestry and geology, right? Detailed syllabus, day by day syllabus will be provided to you as a schedule. What we have been expecting is October month, end of 31st, we will finish both forestry and geology. November 1st to November 20, we will start with respect to daily answer writing practice. So once the course has been completed, you do know what the course is, complete the syllabus as a revision part, write it, share it, we will let you know how it has to be written. How this discussion part will go on, every day there will be a discussion, recorded video will be provided, or live discussion will be there. So for safety side, we are saying the recorded video now. Recorded discussion will be provided on the portal. You write it, you submit it. Once you submit, you will be able to see the recorded video, right? And the recorded video will be available in a way that in the iPad, I will write the answers, entire answers, and then the screen will be shared. I will tell them how the question has to be interpreted. What is the demand of the question? What is the context of the question? What are the parts that is available with respect to the question? And what the definition has to be there? What diagram has to be present in it? How the answers will be filled? So this daily answer writing practice will fulfill certain characteristics. Number 1, it is a revision part. So your class will be again revised to you, 1, in that particular topic, which question has been given, not the entire class, right? Second thing, you will be given how to write the answers in a scientific format that will be provided with respect to it. More information like examples will also be added with respect to it, right? So you will be able to get that in a recorded video. Apart from the test will be, you will be given 3 days of a time. If the test is being conducted, for example, on Sunday, you can write the test on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We'll give you a leniency of 3 days. Why not 7 days like what is happening for the civil service optionals? That is not possible, because if you give 7 days, within 20 days, if the test has to be conducted, you will do all the tests in the last of it. And as a student mentality, after even if I was there, what will I do? I complete the paper, I will be like, I completed the paper. You give me the answer evaluated. But look at from the other side, what will happen is like if you complete 2 days before the examination, and like all those put it across, that is not possible for the faculty. So we give you 3 days leniency, finish that particular part, and then will be evaluated with respect to it, right? And now we go on to the mains part, right? So how to write the science paper? What has been checked this year especially is these 4 parts, right? Number 1 is subject knowledge. In depth of the subject knowledge is being checked with respect to the science paper. Number 2 is with respect to the content. Not mere filling of paper will not give you the marks. You will have to provide the content with respect to it, right? Third, with respect to is interconnecting the subjects in optional paper. For example, if you take forestry into consideration, there is a subject called silviculture will be there. There is a subject called silviculture system will be there. To expose you further, silviculture means art of cultivating forestries. Silviculture system means cutting the forestries and reproducing the forestries. In simpler words, silviculture, culture is cultivation. System is you cut, reproduce the trees. You'll have something called forest mensuration. You measure like an engineer. You'll have forest management. How this growth, how the yield, how the resources to be managed. Silviculture is connected with silviculture system. Silviculture and silviculture systems are connected with mensuration. Silviculture system and mensuration are connected with management. Without the complete information, you can't write a management. But you read the book, no, what will available is those 4 points or 5 points or half a page will be given in the management book. Because everything is already been there. For a person who reads the 2D dimension, if it is a one book, that one book is going to be like a notes format. Like something like if you have done your college days, I am a person, I will assume that all of you are best minds that is available in the college days. What I have always done is like sit in the last row, look at the window, and go to the topper's room at the last day, get photocopy of the material. I did not have money, so I don't do the photocopy of this material. I will just sit with him, tell the story. He will tell the story, go to the examination, write with respect to it. If you photocopy his material or her material or their material, whatever, right, person is, you will be able to see only 2 dimension. You don't get the 3rd dimension. But what UPSC is asking in the recent time period is 3rd dimensions. Why? What is the knowledge available? The earlier time periods, for example, why shading is provided in nursery? What are the types of shading is being asked? Or what is forest nursery is being asked in the earlier time periods. Now they are asking why is nursery required? So what question is not being asked? If you write the what question for it, you will be given 2 marks out of it. If you write the why question for it, what is the reason behind it, then only you will be given 6 marks for it. So that knowledge is what we speak in terms of subject knowledge. You should have that particular idea. Second is the in-depth content has to be provided with respect to it. Third, you can interconnect. That's what I said. Silviculture will be connected with silviculture system to connect it to mensuration and then to management. All this will be connected with the protection. All this will be connected with the wildlife. So all this will go on with respect to the part. Right? Skill of writing science. When you take the skill of writing science, what you mean as skill of writing science is, just give me a second. Yeah. The answer paper is being available. We don't start with an introduction, we start with the definition. And if you remember your school days, I do not know whether this has been done to your generation or not. My generation, teachers used to beat. And when you write something and if it is not true to the sense, no, they will be saying that where is the definition? Where is this? Where is what? Where is the exact technical terms? Here the definition has to be true to the type. When I say true to the type, whatever that has been available, that has to be presented with respect to it. Right? So if, for example, a question on, say, how the wind influences the growth of a tree, then we will be discussing with respect to the definition on the tree growth. What do you mean by this tree growth? And then we will draw a diagram saying that this is how the tree will be there, where the diameter at the base will be larger, diameter at the top will be narrow. This is found due to the characteristics of wind. This alone will be available in the book. But we will write for 2 pages for 10 marks or for 15 marks will go on. If it is 15 marks, I will have to put for 3 pages. So what will I do is like, I will connect this with respect to silviculture system. I will connect with respect to mensuration. I will connect with respect to management. So multiple areas. What is the importance of it? In each and everything, I will have to put the importance. So very first day of the class, you might not get that importance. You will have to finish all the parts of the subject to get the importance with respect to it. That is what is required mostly in the case. Are we comfortable? So once you put the definition, one diagram will be given. I'm just showing the diagram in this big. If you are writing a mains person, not this big diagram, the diagram has to be small and within the size what is provided. and after that you speak about the mechanism. I'll give you one more easier example of what you mean by mechanism in it, right? In the school or college days time period, have you ever done this chemistry titration? All of you? Yes? So if I have to write the chemistry titration, it is very simple. Take this chemical and put it in the pipette or burette, and one flask will be there, you put this chemical. You add both the chemical, color will change. Result is obtained on this particular data. Did you write that in a similar way? You write it as a definition part. Aim of the experiment, apparatus used, mechanism. You would have written that you will be able to take the burette, you will be standing straight towards it. That particular fill has to be done so that the parallel arrest should not be taking place with respect to it. Holding the knob of the burette in the left hand, pipette will be held, the flask will be held in the right hand. Slowly you will open with respect to it. You will mix. If the color comes with respect to it, now you understood that it came in 12.3, but it is not exactly correct. So the next time you will redo it is 12.125 will be the exact information. You explain. Science is all about explanation. Explanation will be true to the sense, because science is universal. What do you mean by science is universal? I do the same experiment of pipette and burette. Shall I? I do the same experiment of pipette and burette, say in a particular state in India. Say, let's put it across in Madhya Pradesh, in one of the government schools I'm doing with respect to it. Same experiment, you do it in CERN. Will the results will change? No. Why? Science is universal. So what I explain as a science in one part is going to be true to all parts of the world as well. So it is not subjective, it is not interpreted. But when you write some of your political science options or sociology options, some of your options, not all, geography options or public administration option, anthropology options, anthropology at least to a greater extent science will be there. Whatever the art subject, philosophy options, I might interpret philosophy in some format, she might interpret in some format, he might interpret in some format. All this will be subjective in nature. I can't do subjective and all. So writing stories will not give you marks. What you have to do is, only the content has to be provided. You can't write, okay, I will read these keywords, I will put the keywords there and I will put it across. This helped people in 2017, 18, 16 time periods. This year did not help with respect to it. And that has affected a large number of people in the final process when it has been selected. I will give you examples also who was selected in this particular year, right? So after you speak about the explanation part of mechanisms, the next page you go on with respect to it. What are the applications? What is the impact? I can write with respect to it. With that, answer is over. There is no need to conclude. Have you started writing the main answer paper? As the faculty, as everyone has evaluated, the mentors have told you to conclude with respect to it. I'm telling you that is not required here. Your application part is our example, our case study, our impact. That is the conclusion. And the answer is over, that is over. But people always write, finally to conclude, sir, the wind impact on the tree is very good. What is very good? Don't waste the time. What is introduction? Definition is introduction, right? So if I have to put it in very simpler terms, right? The simpler terms has to be 75% of the particular answer paper should be content. 20% of the 10-mark question or 15-mark question, whatever it is, 20 to 25% of the answer paper should be filled with diagram, scientific examples, applications. This is what is required. And what do you mean by content, sir? Content will include definition. The body of answer paper will either have mechanism or process, explanation scientifically. One or the other will be there. I'm not saying all, because some questions will require mechanism, some questions will require process, some questions will require scientific explanation, some questions will require cause and effect relationship, phenomena will be using with respect to it. Based upon the questions, I will be writing with respect to what is required. Are we comfortable? This is how it has been put across, right? This nature will be done. If you are able to present it, this will be done. And we already said that subject knowledge has to be there, content has to be there. Yes. Third thing is interconnecting the subject. Why we are speaking about it? Because when people were not unable to, shall I clean this? Yes. When people are not able to interconnect, no. When a 15-mark question comes, they will be able to write for maybe 1 page or 1.5 page. After that, they do not know what to write. They started writing about present day conditions, government schemes, which and all we will always settle right in civil service mains examinations, not here with respect to it. Unless otherwise the question asked is discuss the government mechanism which has been taken with respect to addressing the climate change impacts, because environment and biodiversity is also part of the question. Shall I move on? Yes. And again, for the 2023 mains rating people, what is more importantly required is choice of the questions. We'll speak about with multiple classes and multiple tests how to choose the questions. The choice of the questions has to be core. You can't choose the periphery. What is core and what is periphery? When we introduce the subject and we discuss about the subject, it will be much more easier. Today, when it is a very orientation session, I can't put it across what is core subject and what is periphery subject, right? So choice of the question will give marks. If you wrongly choose the questions, because what is going to be there? 8, 5 you will have to choose, 1 and 5 is compulsory, other questions, 3 questions you have to choose. If people choose these 3 questions wrongly, marks were not provided. You will have to choose the questions in a very exact manner, right? And those things we will be discussing much with respect to the classes. And time required for the preparations, right? Because what we have seen with respect to the last 3 years in terms of changing nature of examination question format from what to why. One, because reading one book is not any more sufficient. Second thing is the way that is being evaluated, the time required is what is available for the writing mains people is very, very limited. Very limited with respect to it, right? So after the civil service main starts with respect to it, you will have to complete the portion within the month of October, right? You should have the knowledge of it, content of it, and November you write with respect to test, and then we'll go on. I will also have another slide for the strategy for the mains writing people 2023. That will go on with respect to it. But if you are a person who has been preparing for the next year, right? Because if you take the people who have been cleared this year, right? Vajiram also conducted an orientation in an Instagram live with the All India Topper 1, Mr. Srikanth, right? He mentioned that he was preparing since 2021 March to reach that particular things. He was preparing only for Forest Service examination for 1.5 years with a gap of 4 to 5 months in a time period will be there. The All India Topper 3 was my classroom student where I was teaching in a different place, where what has happened is like she was a student from 2020 and she wrote 3 mains examinations with respect to it. And that went on for a period of time and she gained with respect to it. So 3 times she went on to the mains interview. She was able to struggle with respect to it, corrected every single time. And then she reached, good thing is like she reached All India rank 3. So we're happy with respect to it. Same happened with respect to All India rank 8, preparing for who I know for the last 7 years of a time period, preparing for the longer time period. What has been seen with respect to this year is more number of people who prepared has been preparing for a longer time period. And the competition levels have been much, much increased. This was not the same scenario in 2015 time period or 16 time period where people did not know Forest Service examination. Now people who have been preparing for the civil service examination for a period of time know what is Forest Service examination and start preparing with respect to it, repeatedly come for the mains examination, repeatedly come for the interview. So the competition levels are increasing with respect to it. So if you are a person who has been eyeing for the Forest Service examination and not giving this particular mains or just started with respect to it, start way earlier. Work on with respect to it. Then you will be able to be in a very comfortable positions. For the people who have been done with respect to this, writing this mains, don't worry about it. We will be able to reach that particular part, right? I'll give you the strategy with respect to the people who are writing the 2023 mains as well, right? In such a scenario, what you will do, what you will be doing with respect to it, the general knowledge paper is highly scoring with respect to it, because all you people will be writing the civil service mains. So after the civil service mains is over, sleep for 1 day. This is very important, right? The very next day start with respect to the preparation. The preparation should be optional. General knowledge, keep it 3 or 4 days or 5 days before the examination for your part of revision. The general knowledge will have only limited papers. We have history. When we say history, ancient history and medieval history is available. Whereas in case of civil services, ancient administration is not there. Medieval administration is not there. Whereas in case of forest administration, ancient history, medieval history, administration part has also been there. Don't worry about it. During the classes, I will also show you a categorization. That's what we shall help you with respect to the GK paper. What and all has to be studied, what is required, that also will be there. After history, you will have economy, polity, geography, science. I didn't say science and technology. Science, especially environment-oriented science or biology-oriented science, and then you will have environment. So these are the topics which is available in the general knowledge. And all this you will study for the civil service mains. So do have that opinion. All of you keep that civil service general knowledge preparation slide, right? Maybe revise 1 hour a day or keep it at the end, whatever that suits you. You go by the logic. Whatever is rational to you, take it. Don't take anything which is not rational to you if anyone says with respect to it, right? This is with respect to general knowledge. And general English part. Within the general English part, we do have essay. And if you are writing the civil service mains, you are good with the essay. No doubt with respect to it. You would have been preparing for the essay. So keep that essay part. Apart from that, reading comprehension will be there. Letter writing and report writing will be there. For this letter writing and report writing, take any good grammar book like Renan Martin or Raymond Murphy, right? Read the rules of that particular letter writing. Our letter has to be written. Our report has to be written, right? Because they will ask, this particular issue is available in your municipality, write a report to the district collector. You'll have to write the report, right? Any report that happens with respect to it. Prepare for the letter writing and the report writing. Understand the rules. Once in a while, practicing one letter and one report. That is going to be one page only. So 10 minutes if you put across, you will be able to write one letter and report. Try multiple times with respect to it. Essay you do know, reading comprehension you will have to prepare, report writing and letter writing. The most important part is grammar. We'll give you two ideas. Either form a group or study individual, whichever suits you, right? In this, either you are studying alone or as a group, follow two ideas. One is before the examination, 3 days, you spend 5 days, you spend half a day for the English part. Go with respect to it. Or else half an hour every day, I'll finish this grammar thing. For some people and all, you will have to do every day to get that. For some people, they will be like, closer towards examination, I'll finish it off. Whoever the kind of a person. And sir, I don't fit in these two, sir. I fit in a third category, do the third category. Whatever suits you, do with respect to it, right? Either do continuously or do few days before the examination. Are we comfortable? This is with respect to English. And again, only part you will be working is grammar. All other parts are easier with respect to it. So most focus that you will have to do is with respect to is only optional, right? If you are a person who has prepared already, start with respect to the revision part and write the test. Test batch schedules will be available with respect. Both the schedules, test batch schedules, classroom schedules, everything is available on the website. But if you are a person who is starting fresh, and if you are a person who believes that I will take the classroom course, right? Then in the month of October, we will do separately. Forestry will be done on 3 days. Geology will be done on another 3 days. Last time I took the class in a way, the class is between 10 to 5. 10 to 1 after the 2 hours of break and 2:30 to 5 something, 5.5 hours per day class has been taken. So that I thought like people will have some in between break and they will be able to do on with respect to it. But what people said is like the entire day is gone here. I did not have a time period. So what we decided this year is we'll start the timing at 8:30 and we'll finish something by 2 with an half an hour of break in between, right? So what we'll do is like morning, come here, 2 will be over. Even if you go back after your lunch, sleep for half an hour, 2 hours, 1 hour, start with respect to the 4 o'clock, you will have the rest of the day will be available. So the rest of the day you will use it for your revision part of the entire subject. So you read it, revise it, read it, revise it, read it, revise it. And in the classroom programs, if you are there or whatever it is, whatever the topics that has been done, if you are willing to write, I will give you daily questions. Write the daily questions also from the topic, whatever that has been discussed, write it and come, you'll get evaluated. So you will have a topic where a subject will be taught to you. You'll have a time period to revise, write every single day, come back, you'll go on to the next day. This will go on again and again with respect to it. So 3 days it will be done for forestry. 3 days it will be done for geology. When the exam patterns are changed, 1 year I took geology to write the Indian Forest Service. And the faculty who is going to teach you geology is my mentor in geology. He taught me geology with respect to it. And once he comes here, you will be able to see such a humble person I have never seen. You will not see him as a faculty. He will come like you ask him anything, even at, don't do it, right? So he always says that people ask me questions at 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. I used to send them voice note at that time also. Please don't do it. He's married, he has a kid, right? So don't disturb also with respect to that. But you will be able to take the resources from it. So you write, the classes will be done. You will be able to have daily answer. If you want, he'll give you the questions. Write it, come, get evaluated. Next day we'll go on with respect to it. This will be done. So in the entire month of October, close to 80 to 85% of the portions will be completed. And you will also revise it, do daily writing. You will be well versed with this. November 25th is your exam date. So November 1 to 20, we will also do again daily answer writing. You will also have 4 sectional tests and 2 full tests, right? So in such a scenarios, you will be able to do daily answer rating, 4 full test, 4 sectional test, 2 full test, GK test will be there, English test, that is going to be jam packed for you. If you are writing this 2023 mains, breathing space will not be available, right? No other go with respect to it, but you work on that particular 2 months of a time period. The forest service interview call will be much more easier. Your services will be much more easier with respect to it. This is what it is. Shall I move on? And year after year, we see competition extremely increasing because people have been eyeing largely with respect to the forest service also. Why forest services? All India service. A good work-life balance will be there. With nature. What else you want? I don't know. You go into the service, I will come and visit you once in a while. Right? So, shall I move further? Yes. So, this can be done with respect to it. And the examination will also be in a way, 25th, when the exam starts, it will be GK and GE, General English. After that, you will have a break for, based upon the options that you have chosen, 2 or 3 days of break will be available. Right? For example, 3 days break. Geology is available. 1 day break. Forestry is being filled. Right? If you have taken these 2 as an options, I would say that first day you study forestry. The next 2 days you study geology. Right? So your 1 day you studied all the subjects. Again 1 day you revise forestry. You go to the examination. That will be sufficient. Right? Examination is relative. So it is based upon the competitor who is going to be with you. And this last 2 years, especially the last year, we have seen the competition has been extremely high because more number of people who wrote the last year have been preparing for large number of years. And they have the large amount of content. So whoever has given the content alone has been given with respect to the good marks with respect to it. And the good marks has given them the service. Right? This is one way good. Why? Because one who prepared alone will be in the service. One who has not prepared will not be with respect to service. That doesn't mean whoever went to the interview and did not clear is not being prepared. I didn't mean that. There are other factors would have also played with respect to it, like the interpretation of the question, choice of the questions, style of writing the science, or finishing the answer papers, or the interview part. That day I would have flunked one or the other. So everyone who goes there has put their due effort. But within that, multiple other factors will also play with respect to it. Are we comfortable with respect to it? Within the strategy? Yes? Okay. And if you have been writing with respect to 2024, right? This is 24, right? If you are writing for the 2024, what if you have been eyeing for the Indian Forest Service alone, mains is the most important part, right? Pick at least one option in the time period of 2023, right? Finish that one optional, right? Once you finish that one optional, next year you go on, one optional is already been completed. I have read it, I have revised it, daily answer rating practice was over, test was also conducted. After the test is conducted, when the other 2023 people mains are writing, no, you just take that particular UPSC optional paper. You write it one time. Give it to me, I will evaluate and give you. Right? So you will be able to put it across. So you will be comfortable with respect to the optional. From the time period of November, again prepare for the preliminary. Either preliminary with respect to it. Clear? No, sir, I am not preparing for civil service at all. I am preparing only for Indian Forest Service. Take both options. Finish it off with respect before December time period. And then you will be working on with respect to the preliminary part. Once you do it, again 5 months of a time period will be there. At least your classes would have been over. One test would have been over with respect to it. 5 months, write it. Part. Right? Test after test after test. Then you will be able to be in a very better positions. Compete whoever comes in the optional papers. This will be the strategy for 2024, right, people? Right? And with respect to forestry optional, yeah, I spoke about this particular part. Yes. And with respect to what is the advantage of forestry optional is there are state public service commissions for assistant conservator of forest will be there, forest range officer will be there. These are the number of states who have been conducted examination 2023 and 22. Some of the states have conducted with respect to it. All the states have this particular thing, right? Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Uttarakhand, West Bengal, Mizoram, Assam, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, all these states. You name all the states will be conducting with respect to the examination. No state is not conducting with respect to it, right? But the variations will be there, right? Any doubts? I will take the doubts from the mains rating people first, and then we'll go on to the rest of the people, right? Any doubts, ma'am? Okay, so he will be the same person who will be teaching here. Okay. So this as a problem which has been we anticipated from some of the students. So that is one of the reason why we started this daily answer writing practice this year, which was not available last year with respect to it. We had only the classroom program and the test program. So daily answer writing practice will teach you how to finish it on with respect to it. Second thing, what we are also doing is providing you the material. And you know that faculty will, the geology faculty always has this very crisp notes will be available with respect to it. And he always gives you technical words and the diagram with respect to it. You reproduce that, marks will be automatically come with respect to it. So only thing you have to do is memorize. When he was teaching me with respect to crystallography and all he took is like 6 pins and one non-dust eraser. He pinpointed all those things within that and he said, this is this particular crystal, this is this particular crystal, this is this phases and all those things. So he will give you much more examples with respect to how to revise each and everything. I'm just giving you overall idea of how it will be done with respect to it. One is memorize it and reproduce. What is a problem for me is I am a person who cannot memorize things and reproduce. So always what I do is like I will grab my roommate, whoever is the person who's also been studying for the same examination. I will tell them, I will teach them. So I do this group study kind of a thing, which helped me with respect to the revision part. So because we keep on speaking about it, so that has helped me. You can try it, right? One of my roommate who is not in the group study, he always write that. He reads and writes and writes and writes with respect to it. He says that is helpful for me. For you, you can pick which is the choice that will be helping with respect to it. Second, and daily answer writing practice will be able to help you with respect to it. And I hope you do have his number as well, right? I will also put a word with him and you will be able to contact again and you know how approachable he is. So you will be able to, don't worry about that particular part. And daily answer writing practice this year we have been trying with respect to it. I hope that will be very helpful for the completing the part with respect, because I'm doing the daily answer writing for the geography with respect to this particular year mains writing people, and we are able to see all those 50 plus people who are writing this optional geography optional paper respected, and almost all the people who have been in daily answer writing practice said that it has changed completely in terms of demand of the question, context of the questions, how to write, perceptions and examples, which will help. So no need to worry about any other. And here the forestry will be 3 days class programs and I will be here with respect to it. Right? Anyone from online who will be appearing for the mains examination this year, and if you have doubts, you can put it across. The other doubts I will be able to take slightly late. Ujjwal, you are writing the mains, no? Any doubts with respect to you? Okay, you have my number, you can reach out. Dilip, what about the offline classes in Chennai? Okay, Dilip, with respect to it, is like it will be done. What we asked with respect to Chennai people is like Chennai people said online will be much more preferred with respect to it, and I will be coming 3 days here. It will be the classes, and I will be coming there for 4 days of a time period, and I will be available in Chennai just because for the Chennai Forest Service writing mains people. So that time we will be able to meet. We will be able to discuss whatever the doubts you do have, whatever the daily answers that you have written in the next first 3 days. From the classroom programs, I will evaluate that and I will sit with you on those 4 days, and then again I will come back with respect to the daily. This will be done. Yes, all the test question papers will be in the same pattern with respect to the current trend of UPSC examinations. Your forestry or geology will also be in the current trend. GK, essay, English paper, everything will be with respect to the current trend. Yes, exactly. I'll take this into consideration. We will help you with whatever way that is possible, right? Because this has been faced by all the time period with respect to students. At least one way or the other, we will sit the director and we will figure it out how this science-based questions can be helped for the people who are writing this forest service means some or the other way. But we will come with some help, which I can't tell you what nature will be at the present moment, because this is a kind of a things we'll have to sit and whether what mode we will be able to help. But we will do that particular part. Don't worry about that. That we will discuss over the classes for the GK. GK only you are asking, no? GK, optional, everything we'll discuss in the classes. No need to worry about it. Anyone else? Any doubts from the 2023 mains writing people? And I will also like to know from the online who are writing the 2023 mains. Can we go back, scroll from the first? Thank you. Good evening, nice. Yes, informative webinar. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Interesting. Excellent. Okay, fine. These are not required. Good evening. Back again, informative, blah. Interesting. Choice of questions waiting for that we will discuss, because choice of questions will be down. Choice of questions are based upon each and every subject, right? In silviculture, what should be the choice of question? In systems, what should be the choice of question? It will vary from one to another. Number one. Number two is within the choice of questions, some people will be able to have the interest of choice of question, Narmata, writing in different formats. We always say that some people will be very good in analysis part, some people will be very good in straightforward part. That will go on. The speed is high. In the classes, the speed will not be there. This is my normal conversation mode. In classes, when I dictate the notes or I explain with respect to it, I go on to minus 2x. So don't worry about that particular part. There will always be a volcanic eruption which will be going inside to make me slow. Yeah, so don't worry about that, Yash. What about how to prepare for the prelims IFS cutoff 2004? Right. I hope you will be a part of the classroom program, right? And whatever that you have been preparing with respect to the civil service, the same thing has to be there. So you'll have to take the preliminary much more serious with respect to it. Give importance to all sectional parts. Don't skip any of the sectional parts. Some people will say, I am good in economy, I'm not good in, say, ABCD subject, so I'm skipping it. Don't do that. Prepare for all the parts, so you'll be able to go on. And people have to attempt for more number of exactly correct questions. If you are attempting, there are two kinds of it. No, one section of people will attempt only the correct questions. One section of people will attempt, even if I do not know, I will take the choice of probability and go on. Either way, you will have to attempt for more number of questions. Then only you will get more number of cutoff will also be there. More strategies we will speak. Don't worry about it. Classroom. Any other doubts from the people who have been preparing for? Not this means, next means. You will be preparing for the next year, right? Take one optional now, right? Have you decided the optional? If not, we will speak about your optionals also, right? Take one optional for now. Finish that one optional for now. The next optional, you will be able to take it in the next. But if you have been, as I told with respect to it, if you wanted to take both the optionals and complete it now itself, that would be a better choice, because this two subjects are over and writing would have been at least one over. So this October time period and November time period, this 50 days, you will finish the optionals, right? And after that, you will again have to prepare on the preliminary part of the examinations. So you will prepare for the preliminary part of examination. Again, after you start with respect to the next preliminary, you clear the forest service cutoff, right? You will have to be very clear about two things. One, because all the people who are writing the mains are civil service writing mains. They are very good with respect to general studies. So they will also be good in general knowledge, right? The cutoff variations of general knowledge should not be highly varying between the one who has written the civil service mains and who has not written the civil service mains. This is one major challenge that I have been seeing people who are only preparing for civil service. Second challenge is they keep writing this 3 months of a time period, multiple number of tests. So their muscle memory is to complete the paper, right? But people who are not appearing on the civil service mains and appearing for only forest service mains, they have this particular problem of muscle memory to complete the paper. So what I would suggest for people like you is, after the preliminary, just make sure you write n number of general knowledge related subject test, so that you will be on par with those people as well, civil service mains rating people, and your muscle memory will also be to be able to complete. But you don't have to prepare multiple other subjects. Something like internal security is not required, ethics is not required, society is not required, world history is not required, post-Indian consolidation is not required, governance is not required, economics of agriculture part slightly is not required with respect to it. These are exclusive civil service main subjects. So what is general knowledge subject is whatever that is available in preliminary is your IFS mains general knowledge also. So these areas you will have to be much more versed with respect to it. So coming back to your questions, finish the optionals now, start with respect to the preliminary, right? Any other doubts? Fine? Yes?
Should I have to merge the current affairs with forestry and geology, as I have seen the coal deserts and mangroves have been asked much more times in recent years. So should we merge all the current affairs related to this answer?
The mangroves and coal desert is one of the syllabus topic itself in forestry paper 1. Section A, you take silviculture will be the first topic, silviculture system is second, mangroves and coal desert. So usually some 30 to 40 marks will every year will come from mangroves and coal desert with respect to it. If by any chance the government of India comes up with any of these schemes that is being done for the mangroves or coal desert, we have been doing the afforestation in the Leh Ladakh regions. These are the things that has been required with respect to it, or any names that has been coming across. So that is required with respect to it. More of the mangroves and coal desert, forestry related mangroves and forest related coal desert will be asked. Something like forest types, how afforestation has been done, how planting has been done, what are the natural problems towards these forest areas, what is the utility of it. Those and all will cover in the classroom itself. Anything that has been, for example, as you asked with the current affairs, the cheetah reintroduction project can be a current affairs oriented. So that can be an importance towards it. National action plan for climate change or any of the other things related to climate change, what the government has been doing, that will be important with respect to it. So current affairs part will have a minimal amount of influence with respect to the forestry or the geology. Most will be theoretical ones because it is more of science orientation. Another question, ma'am.
Sir, are the case studies important, like if something extraordinary is done by one of the officers and which has been highly appreciated? So do we have to focus on case studies?
If it is possible, including it will be able to go on. But this case study inclusion is not naturally done in a science subject with respect to it, right? Where people have been started to do this in the recent time periods to put across. What the kind of case studies we will do is, see, forestry as a science when it has been started, no, Europeans started the science of forestry. And when British was here, the colonial rule introduced us to the forestry. The father of Indian forestry is a person called Dietrich Brandis. He's a German, but he's called as the father of Indian forestry. So this particular person has contributed largely to the forest, and all the knowledge that has been from the European has been applied here. So this is more of a practice which has been done. That particular practice is being made into a science subject. So if you read the basic books of forestry, what we will always do is this particular Haldwani division in this particular state, this particular practice has been done for the first 50 years. This did not work. So we introduced another particular practice. This worked to a 40%. So we modified it to the Haldwani division. We took the inputs from it and then we'll go on. So we read n number of pages to understand what a particular system is. But when I come and teach you, I will be putting it across, this is a system. So every single thing what is done in forestry is a practice tried, failed or successful. If it is a failed, we modified, and whatever success may become the science. So that is how we will go on. And this is much more important with one particular area is Indian examples has to be given, not one state specific example or one country specific examples. Some of the time periods I see some of the answer papers in test batches where the people used to give examples only from, say, the Himalayan regions or Nepal regions. I will always ask them, why are you giving from Nepal? Why are you giving from Bhutan? They said that we got some information from here, but that is not applicable with the Indian example. No. So this is not fit for you, right? So we'll have to stretch our examples from parts of Western Ghats to Eastern Ghats to Aravallis to Gujarat to northeastern part of India, Eastern Himalayas, Andaman. So that is how it has to be put it across. So that is what required. And if your case studies is being there, don't write the case studies for half a page, 1 page and all. Refer it for 2 lines. The rest of the things has to be science, right? Next, ma'am.
Sir, I was asking that in cause and effect kind of questions, do we have to conclude there as we conclude in GS before?
Not required. For example, the question of cause and effect kind of relationship, discuss the climatic factors on the growth and development of trees. So climatic factors I will be speaking with respect to temperature, how it affects with respect to rainfall, wind velocity, snowfall that has been taking place, frost, drought, forest fires, one or the other. This is the cause. How it is going to affect is what to discuss. So give write up with respect to it. And finally say that if you are going to conclude with respect to it, these affect this particular thing in a positive. Everything will be positive, everything will also have a negative. So in each and everything your impact will be written positive or negative. Finally you give some 7 or 8 points, done. Go to the next page, test. No need to write conclusion for most number of questions, not all number of questions. Any other, man? And I should have told, but it's been missed with respect first. So I'm Karthikeyan. Did I introduce myself? No. So I'm Karthikeyan. So I'm a graduate of BSc Forestry. So there is a graduation called Forestry, which has been taught in 12 colleges in the country. And I did my post-graduation in Environment Law and Policy from NLU Delhi. And then I did my master's in Water Policy from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. And I have 3 interviews with the UPSC. And I have been teaching forestry for last 11 years. This will be the 11th year. And I have been with the interview guidance for last 6-7 years. And we also had this particular thing, interview guidance program. right? I think we had it here. What are the courses? Interview guidance for IFS. Within the interview guidance for IFS, we do provide two things. One is the mock interviews. Another one would be one-on-one interviews. I said with respect to the one-on-one interviews, and mock interviews as a panel will be conducted with respect to it, right? And we'll also have, last year, because of the paucity of time, we couldn't do it. We will also have special sections for the interview as a classroom programs that will also be conducted, right? To train in terms of more in terms of legal aspects, right? Yeah, that's the case. I worked as a forest range officer with the state for a year. Then I couldn't continue. I resigned with respect to it. This is my GK course is different from the optional or is incorporated with option. GK course is different. Your subjects there are history, polity, economics. Optionals here are science optionals, Anushka. So it is completely different with respect to it, right? Any other doubts? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I was attending one of the seminars from the celebrity candidate. So she advised to read the bare acts for GK. So what is its significance? Like she asked
For general knowledge, to read the Bare Act.
bare acts.
Hmm.
So what is the significance of particularly reading the bare acts?
I might not suggest with respect to that particular reading the entire Bare Act and going on with respect to it, because even for civil services, the time paucity is very, very limited. I do not know why the person has told so and so with respect to it. Maybe we'll have to ask her to understand what is the idea that the person would have had with respect to it. But I would not suggest to go on reading the Bare Act in both the cases of forest services and civil services, right? And in case of forestry, there are certain access available. And if you look into the last 4-5 years of the question paper, there are specific provisions of the act has been taken and that has been asked. For example, section 38V of Wildlife Protection Act 1972 discuss the provisions has been asked. Those kinds of things are also we will be discussing with respect to the classes. More importantly, material will also be provided with respect to it. And what I used to teach with respect to that also, I will not give you the Bare Act provision in the same format how the Bare Act is written, because first and foremost things I can't memorize it, so I can't reproduce it also, and people cannot also write it with respect to it. So I will transform, I have transformed it in a very politically correct statements and in very technically jargon correct statements, but not in the Bare Act one, which will give you more number of marks, more than sufficient. That will not be there. For example, environment, biodiversity kind of a thing, eutrophication, if I am going to sit and write and type it, that doesn't make any sense. No? So that will not be there. Core forestry will have that. Right? Shall I move on? Any doubts? Thank you. Any doubts over online? Just a minute. Any doubts over online? If by any chance anyone is typing, I will wait for a minute. Yes, yes. Totally fine, ma'am. Go ahead.
Sir, my background is forestry.
You did a forestry course. From where?
From the University.
Hmm.
My master's and graduation both I have done in forestry. So, sir, I'm new to geology,
Hmm.
but I'm taking that as an option. Just I have read it on only one semester. So, how do I approach that subject as an option?
There will be one more orientation which will be done by the geology faculty. The time will be fixed, and then the geology faculty will also be able to discuss with respect to it. So you will be able to put it across. Whereas with respect to the geology, what I do know, as the question has been asked, I will put it across. There are certain topics which has to be read coherently with respect to it, right? Something like if you're reading paleontology and stratigraphy together, then it becomes much more easier with respect to it. Structural geology, you read it along with respect to after reading the structural geology, read the engineering geology and hydrogeology. So it becomes much more easier to complete the portions. Crystallography and mineralography together, right? After that, igneous and metamorphic together, sedimentary separately. When you read the structural geology, stratigraphy is over. That time, always you used to say that read the economic part of the geology. Finally, you have this environmental geology and chemical part of it. That will just be read. So section wise, it has to be studied with respect to it. And we will have a separate section for the geology. The faculty will be here and we will discuss. So you will be able to throw more light on it than me.
So, should I start geology first or forestry
So you are a graduate of forestry, right? So you are good in forestry. That's what I will hope for it, right? So you start with respect to the geology part, right? And forestry, don't worry about it. Any day I'm here, so we'll go on with respect to forestry, right? Any other doubts, right? We'll end the session. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.